Hello everybody and welcome to this episode of Versus, where I take different whiskeys, pit them head to head, and let you know which one deserves that coveted spot on your whiskey shelf. Tonight I have Barrell Craft Spirits, two entries here. We have the Barrell Bourbon 034 and Barrell Bourbon 035. Tonight's episode is going to be called Bountiful Barrel's Brilliantly Balanced Batches 034 and 35. Beck and Brave bourbon buffs boasting brawny bouquets and beautiful bold blends. Yup. Barrell Bourbon Batch 34 was introduced in February of 2023. It's a blend of straight bourbons bottled at 57.31% ABV. It has a derived mash bill of 79% corn, 17% rye, and 4% malted barley. Its components are 6-year-old Indiana, 8, 10, and 15-year-old Tennessee, and 8-year-old Kentucky. Its MSRP is $85. Barrell Bourbon Batch 35 was introduced in August of 2023. It's a blend of straight bourbons, bottled at 58.75% ABV. It has a derived mash bill of 78% corn, 18% rye, and 4% malted barley. Its components are 6, 7, and 8-year-old Indiana whiskey, 7 and 13-year-old Tennessee, and 8-year-old Kentucky. Its MSRP is also $85. Only a few months separate these bottles. However, a few extra Indiana whiskeys went into this one. So let's see how that affects it. And we're going to start off with the nosing and tasting of 34. First the nose. First thing I'm getting here, and I love this smell, it smells like caramel, but it doesn't just smell like caramel from like a candy or something. It smells like the drizzly caramel that you put over vanilla ice cream, because it's also adding some of that creaminess right into the nose. It's the first thing I'm smelling here. Then there's a candy sweetness that I can only say would be like it's actually almost coming to like an apricot flavor, but a little bit sweeter than that. There's some sort of a toasted nut here. I'm going to call hazelnut, only because I'm not sure what else I would call it, but I'm going to go hazelnut. Also fairly common in bourbons, so. There's a cinnamon note and kind of like an allspice note here. And the alcohol is a little bit heavy, but it's not overbearing. It's just there if you nose too deep. There's this oakiness that also is not overbearing. It just gives a bit of heavy bodiness, sure, to the smell. All right, let's have a taste. Cheers. Bodiness. Okay, first taste is cinnamon. That hazelnut is actually there immediately for me. There is a tannic note from the oak barrel here, where it's drying out your tongue a bit. That's usually tannic. Let's see what else. Some of the lighter notes that you're getting. There is a zest of citrus, I'm going to call orange, in here. There's oak is, again, coming through. It's a little bit more prevalent on the taste than on the nose is the oak. But I typically look at oak as a support system for other flavors. It gives weight to the whiskey, and it gives almost like a way to hide other flavors to discover. I realize it's a little too poetic, I get it, but that's how I visualize it when I'm tasting it. So, let's see what else. Cinnamon, if I haven't said that already. Definitely. But overall, a very pleasant taste. This is actually like a really good whiskey. All right, let's try the 35. Let's have the nose first. This one's quite a bit different. Whereas the other one was more classic bourbon, this one's coming off a little bit fruitier right off the bat, and more so tropical fruits or citrus fruits as well. I'm smelling maybe some mango. This is going to be way too much, right? But you ever cut into a mango and you know how like the inside core is just way too hard? There is a different smell to me, or maybe like a taste, if you just bite into that core than the flesh outside of it. That. This is where my life has taken me. I'm dissecting a mango through a whiskey. I like it. All right. Caramel sweetness. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. There's some lemon zest going on there. The smell here, the nose on this is way lighter and harder to pick apart than something like that. So in a previous, like off camera, I added some water to this as well. And some of the additional notes that I got were more what I've already said, except more pronounced. So things like that lemon came out more. Some like the coconut became way more prevalent. I am getting the coconut now. but it's just the slightest hint, and had I not found it with the water in there, I'm not sure I'd pick it out. So if you're drinking along with me, don't feel bad if you don't smell it, but add some water. All right, let's have a taste. Cheers. Now the taste is very, very different. These are darker fruits. These are things like raisins and dates. Let's try. Leather. That's not a fruit. Fruit leather is a fruit. And then there is some other stuff. So we've got, I'm going to say there's like an orange zest thing going on there as well. A little bit of hazelnut, which was in the other one as well, so that's cool. That's most of what I'm getting here. Some of the typical things as well, actually, so I shouldn't pass them by. But cinnamon's in there for sure. Like, it's very heavy on cinnamon, especially on the finish. There's kind of like a cocoa powder thing going on, but that's a little tougher to pick out. That's very much on the finish, more so in the throat. And overall, like, it's got some subtle bourbon notes to it, but pretty much everything I said are the major hitters, at least for me. All right, so let's talk overall. Overall, I have a winner in my mind, but I will tell you that this was a fairly close one. However, I wanted to try to do something a little bit different. I saw many people putting out videos really, really quickly about the 035, pretty much popping it and then drinking it and talking about it. And I wanted to give this a little bit more time, and I wanted to compare it to the 034, thus the video. However, I also wanted to give it more taste buds, so I invited a friend of mine over. His name's Matt, he's awesome, and he came over and drank with me. And we both kind of came to the same conclusion for various different reasons, but it was important to me that we both came to the same conclusion because I suspect that you probably will too. So when I consider the 34 and the 35, the tastes are close. Sorry, no, the tastes are not close. These are actually quite different, but as far as my personal preference of them, this was a hard call. But I am going to say that I prefer the 34 over the 35 by like a hair. And here's the reason why. I feel like the heaviness of the 34, it supports less flavors and makes them more pronounced, whereas the 35 feels just a little bit confused to me. And when I'm drinking it, it's very much a let's pick out all the fun things that we're tasting. But it doesn't feel as well melded together as the 34 does. And when I'm looking for a blended bourbon, sometimes I am looking for that challenge. But I suspect that most people are probably not. And in the moment, both tonight and the other night, I was looking for something that blended well together that was fun to discover little pieces of. Whereas this one was like, holy crap, I'm a mango and I'm a this and a cinnamon, blah, blah, blah. This was like, I'm a pretty good bourbon and I've got these things to offer you. So that was how I felt about this. So in my mind, 34 is the winner. But as always, we need to blend these things together and see what 34 and a half tastes like. All right, we'll give it a little swirl. This one goes out to you, Matt. Thank you for helping me do some research. It's a tough job, I know. That smells really good. I think that the 34 actually gave the 35 that base that I was looking for, because what I'm smelling here are the apricot that I was getting in 34, but mixed with some of the tropical notes that I was getting in 35, like the coconut and the mango. And now it's fruity, but it has more body. This is cool. I hope the flavor follows. All right, cheers. You know, whenever I blend these guys together, most of the time they don't come out well. This is a fantastic blend. If you have the 34 and the 35 at home, try to blend them in equal parts. I bet you're going to love it. Let me know in the comments if you happen to do it. I'd love to hear that. All right, that does it for this episode of Versus, but let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me fight it out amongst, because I think it's really fun. I have a few other ones planned, and actually, I will tell you that once September, October roll around, I'm going to start doing 2 episodes on this channel every week. I'm going to do a Versus episode, and then my normal review or informational video or whatever like that. So, I hope you look forward to checking those out, and I hope to see you there. And I hope you have a great rest of your night. Go check out Dungeons & Drams. It's awesome. All right. Have a great rest of the night. Cheers.